Well, there's more international action to look forward to. A massive super lightweight unification showdown as Terence Crawford and Julius Indongo collide in Nebraska for all the marbles, all 4 major titles on the line. We're live in the early hours of Sunday, August the 20th. But important business in the same 10-stone division tonight. The fight we've all been waiting for is almost upon us. Andy Scott sets it up.
It's a clash of styles and personalities as Adrien Broner meets Mikey Garcia in one of the matchups of 2017.
As long as I be me, I'll be victorious. You know, I'm ready. I'm physically ready. I'm mentally ready. And I'm just ready to put it on the show.
I think it's going to be one great fight between Adrien Broner and myself, and it just makes for that much more anticipation and more exciting.
Broner is an often polarising and controversial character. His skills have never been in question. The 28-year-old has already won world title belts in 4 weight classes, but lack of focus and issues outside of the ring have cast doubt over his future at the highest level.
My focus, Adrien Broner got the skills to pay the bills, man. He got the skills to beat any fighter out there. And right now I'm focused. I'm at 100%, physically, mentally, and I'm just ready to perform.
A prodigious talent without the fanfare or trash talk of his opponent, Mikey Garcia is a 3-weight world champion with textbook skills and knockout power.
Right hand flattens Zlaticanen, and it is all over.
I've had some good performances in the past, but that was definitely, I think, one of the best knockout performances, not the best.
The Californian is one of the brightest stars in boxing and starts as favourite. With potential unification fights back down at lightweight, a step up to 140 pounds represents something of a gamble for Garcia, especially if the naturally bigger Adrien Broner is back to his best.
I will be victorious, and I just can't wait to the bell ring.
I feel that my power will be there, my speed is going to be there. I'm ready to take care of business and get the fight done, and just, you know, hopefully we can put him out early.
Well, Andy Scott's a busy man tonight. We can go over to him now. He's talking to somebody who shared this very ring with Adrien Broner, in Paulie Malignaggi.
Paulie, great to see you. How do you see this terrific main event going tonight between Adrien Broner and Mikey Garcia?
I'll tell you, you know, at first glance, when you take you look at this fight, when they first signed it, I thought, you know, I don't like the way Broner looked his last fight. You know, Garcia's been hot. He's been hot since he's been back. He's the more fundamentally sound fighter. He's the more importantly, the more consistent fighter, both inside the ring and outside the ring. But then something funny happens with Adrien Broner. As the fight gets closer, you know, you start to see highlights of his training. You start to hear things about his training camp and how it's going. And suddenly you start to become a little bit of a believer. You know, I think I still edge Garcia, but I'm not as convinced anymore. You know, I really believe this fight as a kind of a toss-up kind of situation where both guys can win, because you start to analyze it from both ways. What if Broner is sharp and he's focused a little bit better than before? And why don't we always talk about this? We always talk about how Broner's more focused, but I've never seen him actually make weight the way he made weight. I mean, and I spoke to him yesterday, and he told me, first time in my life I ever dieted. I said, wow. I said, so maybe you can go back to lightweight if you actually diet, you know? Because he weighed a good amount under the super lightweight limit. It was a more disciplined Broner, because just to follow a certain strict diet, you have to be disciplined, you know? So if he put in this kind of work, I think he's ready to put in the work inside the ring. Garcia has never fought at super lightweight in his life. You know, I think eventually those kind of things start to matter, because he did fight as low as featherweight before. I still edge Garcia, but it's, man, I wouldn't bet it. I'll say that.
Well, we can't wait for it. Thank you for talking to us, Paulie.
Thanks.
Interesting stuff there from Paulie Malignaggi, who lost his WBA World Welterweight title to Adrien Broner at this very venue not that long ago. He went back and forth a little bit during the course of that interview, and it's understandable that he did, because it is a difficult one to make your mind up about. Broner kind of fascinates me, to be honest, because the common theory on him is that he's an underachiever somehow, despite having won titles at 4 different weight categories. That maybe he's this kind of maverick genius who could have done more, who could have been an all-time great. The other theory is that maybe he's overachieved. Maybe that he's convinced us that he's better than he actually is. Where do you sit on that one?
Well, Paulie's going back and forth, changing his mind, but me and Darren have been going back and forth. I mean, I think we both you know, we both lean towards Garcia still. Just like what Paulie said there, nail on the head for me. I'm edging to Garcia. You know, he's very hot right now. He's very consistent. He's a top fighter. He's undefeated. The momentum is in his career, is with him. You know, he's 29, but he had that 2.5 period out, so he's probably fresher. You know, probably, you know, more hungry to get back out there. But then when you talk to Broner, you know, for him to be more disciplined at this stage in his career, maybe he realizes he can't mess around anymore because people are sick of him. You know, bundles of talent, great fighter, you know, showed loads of balls when he fought Marcus Maidana, even though he lost that fight but welterweight. He got put down, got hurt, stayed in there, really gritted it out, showed real character in the fight, more than I probably thought he had. Well, a lot of people probably thought he had, but, you know, Broner at his best is a difficult guy to beat. I just think that Mikey Garcia is so hot right now. And the other thing that sways me towards him is that, you know, his brother, Robert Garcia, trained Maidana for Broner. So they know Broner inside that, upside down. They know what he's capable of, and they've studied him many times, and they've still chosen to move up in weight and take this fight. You know, it hasn't been forced into it. This isn't a mandatory challenger or anything. He has stepped up in weight and chosen to fight Adrien Broner. So for me, that shows you how confident they are, and they obviously see something in Broner that they're very confident of exploiting.
I think also as well, I mean, both of them have had spells of inactivity, and this is the fight really to cement them into that elite level league, you know, and then kickstart their career from there, if you like. I mean, you say there, Andy, you know, he fascinates you. At times, Broner annoys me because he is that good. But then, you know, for whatever reason, preparation or life outside of the ring, he just doesn't fulfill his potential. And that's why I say he annoys me. Mikey Garcia, on the other hand, is, you know, though he had a long spurt out, he just hasn't put a foot wrong at the minute. I mean, he looks clinical. He's a good boxer. He's a good counter puncher. He's quick. He's got very heavy hands. He's explosive. So, I mean, styles combined. This makes potential for an absolute blockbuster.
I mean, Broner looks devastating at his best, doesn't he? When he's putting the punches together and he's going through the gears, he looks absolutely top class. A point to, I think, consider, which is curious because we don't know the answer. Will Mikey Garcia carry the power up to 140 pounds? He's looked a massive puncher at lightweight and even super featherweight, lightweight. But, you know, up here now at 140 pounds super lightweight, is he going to carry that power up? Broner's been in with big welterweight. Sean Porter obviously was too big and too strong for him, but I'm not sure, we don't know what he's going to be like at 140 pounds.
Well, speaking of Sean Porter, let's get his views on the fight now. He's with Andy Scott.
We're working alongside our colleagues at Showtime here tonight. I'm delighted to say that Showtime, Sean Porter is in the house. Sean, I've got to ask you about the main event. You obviously shared a ring with Adrien Broner. How do you see this fight going tonight?
I think this is a tough fight for both guys. The way I have it is maybe 55-45, and I got that edge leaning to Mikey. I just think he's a little bit younger. I think he's a little bit stronger and just a little bit more ready for this fight than Adrien Broner at this point.
People talking about how important the weight might be in this fight.
Yeah.
That Mikey's coming up in weight. Adrien obviously fought you at welterweight, and people say he wasn't a natural welterweight. What's your take on that?
Well, I'll tell you what, it was good to see him come in at weight, a little bit underneath the weight limit even, and look healthy and also happy. That says that he's trained properly for this fight and that he's ready for this fight. So when you're a little bit bigger than the other guy, you carry a little bit more strength, a little bit more power, and you're a little bit more durable. So he may be able to take these punches, these heavy punches that Mikey's going to deliver to him, and give them right back to him.
In terms of recent form, Mikey Garcia's last performance was so explosive. Do you think he can carry that power up in weight?
Yeah, I think that's the main thing we're all looking for right here is Mikey going to be as explosive against Adrien Broner as he was in his previous fight. What an unbelievable knockout that was, and I think that's why he's the favorite to win this fight, because he's been so explosive lately. Moving up in weight, again, can you carry that up in the weight classes above you, and then also you're going up against a bigger guy? Are the punches going to be as explosive? So it remains to be seen. I'm betting he will.
Final question on you as well. Thanks for coming and talking to us.
You got it.
You look on fighting weight. We've seen from your social networking that you're in the gym.
Yeah.
Have you got any fight news coming up?
We're working on it day by day. Obviously, I'm in the gym right now, and they actually told me that I would be able to announce something tonight. They told me, well, we don't have it completely ready for you guys. Nothing for you to say tonight. Sorry. We'll make the announcement next week. So hopefully next week I'll be giving you some good information.
Okay, well, we'll be chasing you for it. We'll hold you to
I
that.
hope so.
Thank you for coming and joining us at ringside.
You got it.
You're saying 55-45, Mikey
Yeah.
Garcia, but don't hold him to it.
Small edge, man, small edge. Don't hold me to it. God bless.
Thank you.
You got it.
Well, last time we saw Sean Porter, he was on Sky, that fight against Andre Berto, here in this very ring. And again, it's interesting to hear him talk there, because on one hand, he says that he feels Mikey Garcia is stronger, but then in the next sentence almost, he says that Broner is the bigger man. When you look at these sheer, stark facts, Garcia has won the world title at lightweight, Broner has won the world title at welterweight, which is a 12-pound difference. When you just take that into account, you'd have to say, well, of course, Broner must be the bigger man. But Garcia is stepping up to super lightweight. He has weighed in at 138 once before. We all agree that Broner was never really a welterweight. So who is the bigger man?
No, but look at the difference when he stepped up to welterweight, how less effective he was. You know, there are weight classes in boxing for a reason. And sometimes, you know, someone... Look, listen, there's only one Floyd Mayweather, but, you know, sometimes if someone's so much faster than the other guy, it can neutralise their physical strength. For example, when Manny Pacquiao fought Ricky Hatton, I remember thinking Ricky Hatton's having too big a strength. I've seen Ricky Hatton, you know, sparring middleweights and different things. Manny Pacquiao's moving up, but Pacquiao's southpaw stance, his speed and his power neutralised Ricky Hatton's physical strength. It never became a physical fight because the speed and power neutralised it. So, you know, but and when Adrien Broner's fought guys like Maidana, they've been able to make it a physical fight. You know, Mikey Garcia, he's stepping up to 140 pounds for the first time. Adrien Broner's coming down. Mikey Garcia isn't going to have the physical strength or upper hand over Adrien Broner that the likes of a Maidana and a you know, the other guy, and Sean Porter had at welterweight. He's not, but he is a hell of a fighter, and he is very consistent, and he's really hot right now. So I think that's what most guys are leaning towards Garcia.
I think interesting as well, though Broner's coming down, he's the naturally bigger man, Garcia's coming up. I would put hand speed with Broner. You know, I would say he's the quicker out of the two. You know, hand speed, foot movement, head movement. I think he's the quicker, you know, the quicker puncher out of the two.
Yeah, I mean, Broner's hand speed's electric, and he's, you know, he doesn't move his feet a lot. He kind of edges into range, and he kind of punches off your punches. You know, he kind of catch counters really well, doesn't he? And he kind of opens up with like cute little counters, and then once he makes that first clean, once he gets that cute little counter, he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After that, doubles up with the left hook. But you know, the thing is, Mikey Garcia is so hot right now. The momentum is in his career. He's the guy that. He's kind of the poster boy of boxing at the minute, and I think he's the favourite here, and you know, I'm still leaning towards him myself.
Well, this will be nice and understated, as it generally is. Ring entrances from Adrien Broner. We know what we're going to get here. There'll be plenty of people accompanying him into the ring. This is the way he does it. This is the way he has always done it. This is the kind of atmosphere that he thrives off. There's been slightly confused branding of Team Broner during the course of the week. He says that it's about boxing now, not about billions, but his massive entourage when they've been around town this week, they've had tracksuit tops with about billions on the back, and then hashtag #CanMan, which is an old one he used to use to basically say, I can do whatever I put my mind to. He feels that things are different. They have been different for this camp, but we just won't know until that first bell goes, and that's what makes it so interesting. We're going round in circles here talking about it. We've changed our minds a few times in the course of the last half an hour. I've changed my mind about 5 or 6 times over the course of the last month, but soon enough we'll find out, Darren.
It's funny, I think if we look at both fighters and we say, right, they're both going to fight how they fought before, in my opinion, Mikey Garcia wins and can win comfortably. So in saying that, I think Adrien Broner is the one who's going to have to do something different. I think he's really got to try and unsettle Mikey Garcia. You know, go through the gears, do something a little bit unorthodox. Don't be the same Adrien Broner. He's got to do something a bit different. I think, like I say, looking at in the past, the reason we're slightly leaning towards Garcia is because he has been so devastated. He hasn't done anything wrong. We've seen chinks in the armour of Broner. When it gets tough, he doesn't want to know sometimes. So I think he needs to just mix things up, do something a little bit different in this fight to try and get the win.
Yeah, the other thing though, I think Broner kind of realises he's out of chances. I think, you know, people, whether it's Al Heyman who's backing him or television networks, I think, you know, he's annoyed a lot of people, hasn't he? He's been undisciplined, he's failed weight a few times, and I think he knows that this is, I'm not going to say last chance saloon, but he has to prove himself again almost. With Mikey Garcia, who's undefeated, he's been very consistent, hasn't put a foot wrong, he's going up through the weights. You know, he's kind of the man of the moment in boxing. He's quickly becoming the poster boy of boxing, one of the biggest stars in boxing. Where Broner's had his couple of defeats, he's gone down in weight, he's gone up in weight, he's failed weight. So I think he knows he has to pull out a big performance here.
Well, he turned 28 yesterday. By the age of 23, he'd picked up world titles in 3 different weight categories. Since then, he's added one more when he did fight for one at super lightweight. Here's Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Brooklyn, New York, as premier boxing champions, presents our featured bout of the evening, brought to you by Mayweather Promotions, DeBella Entertainment, and Showtime. Sponsored by Corona Extra, La Cerveza Más Fina. This bout is sanctioned by the WBC. The president is Mauricio Suleiman. The supervisor is Rex Ross Walker. This is along with the New York State Athletic Commission. Introducing our judges, scoring from ringside, from Oneida, New York, Don Ackerman. From Buffalo, New York, Eric Marlinsky. And from Rivervale, New Jersey, Steve Weisfeld. And we introduce our third man to the ring, the referee in charge of this bout, Harvey Duck. All right, fans, here we go with our main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing in a super lightweight special attraction for the WBC Diamond Belt. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from Barclays Center in Brooklyn, it's showtime! Introducing you first on my left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing brown trunks, fighting out of Moreno Valley by way of Oxnard, California. He weighed in at 139 1/2 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign in the ring with a record of 36 wins, no losses, 30 big wins coming by way of knockout. A veteran of 5 world title bouts. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 3-division world champion and the current WBC lightweight champion of the world, the undefeated Mikey Garcia. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, entering the ring wearing red and green trims, trunks with white trim, and fighting out of Cincinnati, Ohio. He weighed in at a trim and ready 138 3/4 pounds. His record stands at 33 wins, 2 losses, and 1 no contest, with 24 wins coming by way of knockout. A young veteran of 9 world title appearances. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former 4-weight division champion of the world, introducing Adrien, the Problem Broner. And once again, a referee in charge, now to give instructions, Harvey Duck.
So the WBC Diamond Belt on offer here, but this is not about the belts. That is not what has sold this. This is about the matchup. It's as simple as that.
Guys, we went over instructions earlier. Remember, obey my commands at all times, protect yourself at all times, touch gloves, good luck.
And it'll be really interesting to see how these two go about this, because you wouldn't describe either of them as being a busy fighter, certainly not Broner. Dictating the pace of a fight is key. If you can do that, then you go a huge way towards winning the fight. Broner, in his career so far, has liked to do things on his terms. When he hasn't been able to do that against Maidana and Porter, he has lost. Garcia has managed to dictate terms in his career. He's undefeated, but when you look at their average punch stats per round, whether you believe those mean too much or not, Garcia's is actually slightly below Broner's. So what does each of them need to do to win this fight?
Well, I do think that Mikey Garcia will set a fast pace. You know, I don't think straight away, I think he'll get into the fight, but I think eventually he'll look to, you know, make Broner fight at a pace. Broner's had to come back down to 140 pounds. You know, he's always been ill-disciplined in his career. Might have been a struggle to get back down there. Garcia's obviously moving up. I think he'll want to use good body shots. I think he'll want to throw a lot of punches. Like I say, first round, I think they'll be feeling each other out. But I think once they get down to business, I think Garcia will be the one trying to initiate things and trying to force a faster pace.
Yeah, and I think on the flip side, I would probably, for Broner, I'd probably try and do the same. Try and dictate from the centre of the ring. Try and be busy. Be different to what he's been before. Because, like I said before, if you're going to pick who's going to win, or who you think is going to win on what you've seen in the past, you're going to lean towards Garcia. So for me, Broner's got to do something a bit different.
Well, he's been training at altitude in Colorado Springs. Stablemates have been around him, the likes of Rorschach Warren, the likes of Jamel Herring, who thought he was going to be in action tonight. Desmond Jarman as well. He's been working hard. He made the weight. He had that $500,000 fine hanging over his head. He was determined that was not going to happen.
Cages start here from both guys. Trying to feint, trying to make the other one, trying to lure the other guy into making mistakes.
Good looking combination there from Broner, but Garcia was just taking the weight back. It bounced off his gloves. It was a brutal finish against Zlatichinin and Garcia. It wasn't his first fight back after his layoff. That was against Elio Rojas almost exactly a year ago on the Santa Cruz Frampton undercard here. It was quite easy to hit that night, but you could forgive him that because he'd been out for a long, long time.
Garcia landed a good right hand in there when Broner was on the ropes. You've got to be careful. Broner does not want to be taking any clean shots this early in the fight from Mikey Garcia, that's for sure. Good jab as well from Garcia. Backing Broner up.
Left hand to the body there from Garcia as well, after he just tried to pop that right hand straight down the middle. He's got those long arms, Broner, that he can employ to good effect. Uses those reflexes to try and avoid punches. Plenty of movement from the waist. Just trying to feint and draw something from Garcia there. It's Garcia who's increasingly on the front foot. It's a family affair in there. Brother Roberts, the man issuing the instructions inside the ring, but Father Eduardo, very much part of the team. It was Eduardo who got both of them into boxing. Interestingly, when he was growing up, Mikey admits that he never really dreamt of being a world champion. Boxing wasn't something he took all that seriously, even though his brother was winning world titles. But he's fiercely proud of that Mexican heritage. Broner said a few uncomplimentary things about his countrymen before his fight against Carlos Molina, but there's been none of that in the build-up to this fight. It's been pretty respectful, unusually so for an Adrien Broner encounter.
I think that's the new Broner. I think, you know, stripping back all the rubbish and getting back to boxing. Like you said before, it's not about the billions, whatever he said, it's about the boxing now, and this is his opportunity now to make a big statement. It was a cagey first round. I think Garcia just nicked it, holding the centre, just a slightly, you know, a little bit more work coming from him. But it seems to be the tone of the fight at the minute. Garcia holding the centre of the ring, and Broner happy to be on the back foot.
Yeah, he looks a bit more purposeful, doesn't he, Garcia? He's kind of holding the centre of the ring, he's stalking. Broner landed some good stiff jabs. Broner's kind of trying to give angles, movement. I don't know if he's trying to set traps or he's trying to time Garcia, but he's the one looking to move and not engage.
Leading with the left hook there, Broner. It fell a distance short. Garcia tried to come in with the right hand. Broner just dipped the knees and slipped away to his left-hand side. Garcia just shutting down his own space slightly there as he looked to use that right hand again. He will look for that.
I wouldn't mind that though if I was the Garcia camp, closing that gap, maybe getting a bit too close, because I think that's the range that suits Garcia better than it does Broner. Broner likes to be at range, letting them fast combinations go. So I'm not going to be too worried. Garcia closing that gap more than he should be, especially early on, just to put a bit of a dent in Broner.
Garcia looking to try and use the jab. Lots of movement from Broner, lots of upper body movement, nothing unusual in that. Shake of the head there from Broner. Doubling up on the jab there, Garcia tripling up.
Looks good here, Garcia. Looks very comfortable, very relaxed, looks strong. Definitely bossing this at the minute, sorry, Matt.
Yeah, no, I was just going to agree with you. He looks in the driver's seat and he's also very patient, which is good to see. You know, he's just taking his time, setting his shots up behind the feint, behind the jab, and he's happy with just landing the jab at the minute, isn't he? He's winning the rounds, he's in the driving seat, he looks happy.
Well, a good few fighters at ringside. We just had a look at Peter Quillin there. That's Errol Spence Jr., who, of course, we saw at Bramall Lane back at the end of May against Kell Brook. And he put on a very, very good display against a very good fighter. He came over with a big reputation, a lot of hype around him. Not the first time that's happened when an American has come to UK shores. And on a number of occasions before that, they've been sent home packing, but not on that occasion. Just like Terence Crawford did before him. He really lived up to it. We've seen Crawford on Sky on August the 19th against Julius Indongo, that unification for all the belts at super lightweight. And who's to say that the winner of this fight couldn't possibly get in the frame to fight the winner of that one? A very long way to go here. Garcia, by our reckoning, has made a good, measured start.
Yeah, he's not making any mistakes at all. Broner giving some feints, trying to lead left hooks, trying to mix things up a little bit now. But Garcia just very patient, taking his time, walking forward, stalking. Broner using the feints, hands nice and high. Really good, positive start from Mikey Garcia.
As well, so I think Broner needs to a bit more variation. When we say from the offset, we'd pick Garcia over Broner, and this is why, you know, he's just measured, he walks forward, he's comfortable. So that to me shows that Broner's got to do something different. Mix up, jab to the head, jab to the body, you know, just quicker hands. You know, he's just throwing single shots at the minute. I think he needs to put them together, be smart, use his angles.
It's always interesting watching Broner. There's always a lot going on, but often he's not really doing a lot.
No, but I think that's credit to all good left hook by Mikey Garcia. See, Garcia's so patient, you know, he's taking his time, he's not falling for any of the carry-on that Broner's doing. You know, Broner's kind of shaping, he's posing, he's giving the feints, he's moving, you know what I mean? He's changing angles, he's trying to go left, he's trying to go right. But Garcia's not buying anything, he's just staying so focused. You know, eyes on the job, staying very focused, sticking to his game plan, staying patient, setting his attacks up behind the jab. And anytime he feels comfortable where Broner stands still or he makes a bit of a mistake, he makes him pay.
That's the one, that's the word, patience. He is so patient, but when he does let him go, he looks classed, and he looks a class above Broner. He's looking good here, it's comfortable.
Left to the body.
Sorry.
And then goes up to the head as well, looks for the right straight down the middle. Broner again with a shake of the head. It's never convincing when you see a fighter do that. And he's built on those first couple of rounds here, Garcia. Of the 3 rounds so far, this has been the most impressive. Nice short left hand on the inside there, again from Garcia. into the final 10 seconds of this third round, and there's already a dangerous tempo being set here for Broner by Garcia. Well, the uppercut from Garcia there fell just short, but he was sneaking hooks in round the back of that guard. A right off the back of a left hand. There's some urgency in that corner. There's a few voices in that corner too, which I'm never a fan of. I don't think it helps.
No, but we're 3 rounds into the fight, and for me, it's been all Mikey Garcia. You know, Broner's trying to go move left, move right. He's been on the ropes. He's tried to edge forward a little bit. But, you know, Garcia's just keeping it very basic. He's keeping it simple, and he's just not making any mistakes. And he's staying patient. He's staying focused. His eyes are completely fixated on Broner. As soon as he makes a slightest error, bang, Garcia pounces on him, makes him pay. And that's the difference. He's just patient, and he's clinical. That's the word for me so far in this fight with Garcia. He's just clinical.
Almost when Broner looks to counter Garcia, he doesn't commit to the shot. He's almost bothered about just sort of tapping him. He doesn't really load up with much. I mean, you don't want to fight a loading up, but you want him to commit to the shot. He doesn't seem to be doing that.
That's exactly the word I was just going to use. Commit. He's jumping in from the outside. Sometimes his punches, they reach the target, but they're not going through the target at all. He's touching Garcia on the gloves, but no more than that, really. It looks okay. If you're a few rows back, it probably looks quite good, but if you're watching it closely, they're not really having any effect.
Or if you're winning the fight. I mean, if you're winning the fight, then so be it, but he's not winning. You know, they're so far over into the 4th round, but he's lost the first 3 rounds. You know, he's got to commit to them shots. You can't just be pitter-patter with them, trying to touch the target. You need to be trying to, you know, put a dent in Garcia.
Yeah, or it's okay if you're trying to tease the counter out of Garcia, that you're then going to counter, but at the minute he's doing the teasing, but he's not countering the counter. Really impressed with Mikey Garcia's patience. You know, he's ahead, he's in the driving seat, but he's not getting excited. He's just, you know, staying patient, picking his punches, just wait. He's waiting for Broner to make mistakes and then making him pay.
This is a game plan coming, working, if you like. This is a game plan working. You know, he's doing exactly what they would have been saying. You know, be patient, pick the punches, don't do anything silly. And this is exactly what's going on now.
Landed a nice left to the body there as well. Garcia. Broner's trying to skirt along the ropes and find a route away from Garcia, but it's a difficult thing to do. Again, he just pops up the 1-2 there. Some of the Broner supporters in the crowd enjoyed that. It was flashy, but it's just not having any effect on Garcia here at all, to be honest. And then he backs him up to the ropes and tries to get him going. That uppercut, up jab almost with the right hand, just caught Broner. A shake of the head again there, but it's not really convincing anybody. Final few seconds of round 4, and again Garcia gets that right hand through, looks for the body with the left, and it's a good finish to the round. Well, Garcia again here. There's that right hand that gets through. Just before that, a straight right to squeeze through that guard. He's finding the openings often enough. Interesting listening to Broner in the corner there whilst we were away. He came back into the corner and was saying that was my round, wasn't it? That was my round, and they basically had to tell him that it wasn't his round.
Don't get me wrong, I mean, they're close, but Garcia's winning them. You know, he's definitely winning them. You know, I don't know what he's seeing in there or what he's feeling, but, you know, Garcia is definitely 4 up for me.
I mean, it seemed to me like he was looking for some reassurance, you know, or some encouragement. I don't think he really thought he won the round. He's like, oh, I definitely won that round, didn't I? You know, he was like, that was my best round so far. But, you know, it's not that Broner's not doing well. He's doing some nice things, but, you know, his little feints and his little bits of trickery that normally most fighters fall for, Mikey Garcia's just not buying the feints. He's just sticking to his game plan, which is, to be honest with you, he's keeping it fairly basic behind the jab, but it's effective.
Leading with a left uppercut there, Garcia. That's a punch that takes some confidence. And just touching with the left hand there, Broner, before he fired off a proper jab. Looking to jab to the body.
To put it simple, if you're Garcia, you keep doing what you're doing. You're winning the rounds. But almost 5 rounds in now, if you're Broner, you've got to do something different. You've got to start changing what you're doing. Try and mix it up a little bit, because before you know it, you're into championship rounds and you're way behind.
I mean, it was interesting in the corner between rounds, hearing Broner's corner say, don't let this guy back you up so much. And I actually would like to see Broner come forward now, because he is backing up and it's not working for him. But, you know, easier said than done when you're trying to push someone like Mikey Garcia back.
But at least he's trying. You're right. At least he's having a go. He's trying something different.
One of our American colleagues, Dan Rayfield, the much respected writer, has got it 4-0 in favour of Garcia through those first 4 rounds as well.
This is Broner's best round so far. Trying to hold the centre, like you were saying, Matt. You know, trying something different. Probably having his best work. Don't know if it's enough. But again, Garcia's still looking comfortable, being patient. That's what I'd like to see more. Work the body a bit more.
Well, just towards the end of the round here, Garcia is taking it away from Broner, though, isn't he? That's the problem, is that Broner's done some neat work. He's kept his hands high, he's thrown some decent-looking punches, and all of a sudden Garcia gets through, just whips that right hand round the back of the guard. He's landed that a few times, and all of a sudden, left to the body there. This is probably his round again.
Yeah, impressive run. Impressive work here from Garcia. Very patient, picking his punches and finding the gaps.
You know, you hear it all the time. Fighters and trainers and people in the game talking about ring craft. And this is something Garcia's got in abundance. He knows how to win a round. He knows if he's losing, he knows how to manage it, and he's showing, you know, tremendous ring craft in this fight so far.
Robert Garcia, of course, has masterminded the demise of Adrien Broner once before. His first defeat, that was against Marcos Maidana. A thoroughly entertaining fight, a great fight, really. And he showed us a lot that night, Broner, and he's going to have to show us a lot tonight if he's going to dig out a win somehow here.
You know, sometimes in a fight, it's not the guy who makes the most adventurous moves, but the guy who makes the fewer mistakes. And Mikey Garcia just does not make any mistakes. He's just so patient, and he just sticks to his game plan. And a lot of his stuff are basics, you know, straight punches, 1-2 down the middle, but he's landing them.
Broner just trying to jab to the body. He had that lengthy spell out of the ring, Garcia, of course. Contractual dispute, and it robbed him of 2.5 years of peak time, you would say, but he felt it was worth it. It was a point of principle. And since he's come back, he's made rapid strides. He had that fight against Elio Rojas, and then he was straight in with Slatichinin, and he made short work of him. The big fights weren't looking like they were coming soon enough for his liking at lightweight. It looked like he would be put together with Jorge Linares after Linares won the WBC diamond belt at 135 pounds when he defended the WBA against Anthony Crolla. But Linares and Luke Campbell are now going to fight, as we know. Terry Flanagan, I'm sure, would fancy a fight with Mikey Garcia. He fancies a big fight with anybody, Flanagan. I don't doubt that. But Garcia's stepped up to 140 pounds, and that in itself just shows the level of confidence that he has.
Looking very comfortable at the weight, not, you know, very established, coming forward, total sort of disregard for any power Broner may have, and bossing this fight. Though there's not a great deal in this round, not much has happened. He's yet to sort of set a light. But Garcia, again, for me, just doing enough.
Yeah, and even if it was equal on punches landed, he just looks like the boss in there. He's the one dictating the terms. He's the one coming forward. He's the one controlling the pace. He's the one making fewer mistakes. He just looks like the guy in there that's winning all the rounds.
You just want to see what is Broner going to do? How's he going to change this? The second half of the fight, what is he going to do to try and win this fight? Because if it stays like this, it's going to be a shutout, in my opinion. So what is it Broner can do?
I mean, you'd like to see if he would come forward and push Garcia back, but I don't know if he's strong enough to do that. You know, these punches are thudding punches like by Mikey Garcia. All right, Broner's taking a lot of them on the gloves, or you know, deflecting 70% of the power of them on the gloves, but you can feel and you can hear the power coming through.
You can, they're echoing around ringside, really. Broner just fell in behind the right hand a bit there as he tried to come back with something of his own. You saw that back foot leave the canvas. This is the final 10 seconds of the first half of the fight, which has been Mikey Garcia's. There is no question about that as he thunders away to the body. And he raises that right glove as he takes his seat in the red corner, and there's every reason that he should. And as you've been saying, Darren, something has got to change here for Broner. He's got to try something else, otherwise he's sliding to another defeat, and this would be a difficult one to come back from.
Oh, it will be. I mean, like Matthew said at the beginning, this is potentially his last shot at a big fight, unless he really wants to do some rebuilding. I mean, yeah, you know, I have to say, he does have to do something else, Broner. I mean, trying up the pace a little bit. I mean, because his pace is suiting Garcia. He's so comfortable in there. You know, he's being patient. To be honest, it's quite an easy, nice work for Mikey Garcia. You know, he's not been troubled at all. He's not been pushed out of his comfort zone.
I mean, Mikey Garcia is a top-class fighter with great variety. He puts punches together in combinations, but he isn't doing that tonight because he doesn't have to. He's keeping it very simple. 1-2, double jab right hand, back on the jab. The occasional left hook to the body, but he's keeping it very simple, staying patient, just taking his time. He's, you know, to me, Mikey Garcia looks like he's got at least another two or three gears to go through. Where Broner, you know, for me, 6 rounds down. You know, going into the 7th round, you have to do something.
And to be fair, Broner does look like he's got gears to go through. That's what's so frustrating with him and so annoying, that he just doesn't go through them. And like you say, you know, you were into the second half of the fight. He's got to do something. He's got to go through the gears.
Well, Mike Stafford, his trainer, in the corner there between rounds, saying to him, pleading with him, almost trying to convince him you're the bigger man. And that's been the chat, because he's fought at welterweight at 147 pounds, and Garcia to this point has been a 135-pounder. But in there tonight, Garcia is the stronger. He's got the heavier hands. He's doing more damage.
Yeah, that was one of the kind of areas that we weren't sure of, you know, one of the unknowns going into the fight. We were kind of, you know, we're trying to talk it around. What way do we see the fight going? What are the talking points? We thought, you know, Mikey Garcia's never fought at 140 pounds. Adrien Broner's fought up at welterweight against, you know, bull strong welterweights like Maidana and Sean Porter, albeit he lost both those fights, but he was in with big, strong welterweights. Mikey Garcia had only ever fought at lightweight, so we were, you know, that was an area we weren't sure of. But you know, he's passed this test with flying colours. I mean, he looks the bigger guy, he looks the stronger guy in there. He's the one coming forward. He's the one dictating all the terms in there. Really impressive performance from Mikey Garcia.
There's that body attack again, and then a straight right hand. And then again with that right that he just manages to arc in behind the guard. A really good crisp jab. Rock Broner back on his heels there.
So accomplished in everything he does, Garcia. It doesn't look, nothing looks like an effort. He just is, you know, poetry in motion. He's so smooth with everything. I mean, if there's one thing I'd like to see more of, it's just when he backs Broner up, just throw a few more to the body, start at the body, and try and drop the hands of Broner, just try and land them big hooks and over the top. But otherwise, you'd have to say it's punch perfect.
Yeah, totally agree with you, Darren. He's just so well-schooled, isn't he? You know, he's such a technically well-schooled boxer. I'd like all the great right hook, I think that buzzed him a little bit.
Well, the right hand at the conclusion of the round there did seem to send Broner just listing slightly to his right-hand side, and there doesn't seem to be all that much that Adrien Broner can do about this at the moment.
So just there, I mean, it's great work. Maybe just like to see Garcia just mount an attack at the body, try and drop the hands of Broner, then land the shots. He just sort of goes, headhunts a bit. I mean, I feel a bit silly saying this because he's, you know, it is punch perfect almost, and he's winning the fight with ease. He's won every round for me, but maybe just start an attack at the body, try and drop the hands and have a bit more chance of landing them big shots clean rather than on the gloves of Broner.
Yeah, I think Robert Garcia was telling there as well to kind of bring them up the middle, which I'd like to see that also. I agree, the body, I'd like to see him go to the body more, but also bring the shots up the middle as well.
Well, into the 8th.
You know, it's almost getting to the point we've seen earlier on in the night when Gerald Washington came out and he kind of really went for it at the start of the round. I can't remember, it was the 6th or 7th round, he hadn't won a round, and you get to a point in the fight where you're behind on the card, you haven't won a round, you're being dominated, and you have to go in there and make a stand and try and turn this fight around. And yeah, maybe it means you're taking a chance, you're gambling, because if you don't, you know, pull it off, it means you might have blown your gasket. But Adrien Broner's, for me, is 7 rounds down, and he needs to really come out and make an impression on Mikey Garcia. He has to throw caution to the wind a little bit. I'm not saying he has to go in there and be totally reckless, but he has to be more aggressive. He has to be prepared to take more chances now.
And the crowd just beginning to get after Broner a bit here, I think. They're not slow to do that stateside a lot of the time, particularly in New York. And Garcia spread his gloves wide as if to say to Broner, come on then, if they want to see some action, let's give it to them. Garcia again, always just inching forward. He cuts down the ring well. Broner's having to work really hard just to stay away from him. And that is never going to be anywhere near enough.
He's pumped up now, Garcia. The crowd really getting behind his work. And he's responding.
Well, Broner just trying to talk to Garcia in there. That's not going to do him any good. He's not going to be able to throw Garcia off. There's no way that's going to happen. He's been laser-like in his approach here, Mikey Garcia. He's not the kind of fighter who is going to be riled or upset by anything that his opponent's going to be saying to him, particularly in the context of how this particular fight is going.
It's all Mikey Garcia for me. I haven't got him losing in 1 round.
I was just thinking, you know, looking beyond this fight, who beats Mikey Garcia? I mean, what a fighter. I mean, I'm so impressed with him here. You know, this really is punch perfect, though he's not looking amazing because he doesn't really have to. He's not having to go through the gears, but he's winning so comfortably against, you know, what you do have to say, a very good fighter, a multi-weight world champion in Broner.
Yeah, and he's making it look so easy. You know, like he's really comfortable in there. He's definitely got another gear or two to go through. He's winning comfortably and he's boxing well within himself. That's how it appears. It looks fairly effortless, and that's the sign of a really, really great fighter.
Well, we talked about pace and tempo right at the very start of the fight, didn't we? And how important that is in being able to dictate terms. And Garcia has done everything the way he's wanted to do it. He's punching when he wants to punch, and he's moving when he wants to move, but there's only really one direction he wants to move in, and that is onto Adrien Broner. And there's really nothing at the minute that Broner can do about it in front of a packed house here at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, a venue that is fast emerging as being the leading one in New York. We've seen Thurman Garcia here this year. We saw Sean Porter recently as well against Andre Berto. We saw Carl Frampton against Santa Cruz here almost exactly a year ago, and it's getting desperate in that corner now.
Well, you know, he hasn't won a round.
He looks well and truly beaten. And they can shout at him as much as they like. You saw the expression on Broner's face there, and I just wonder whether he'll make it through these closing 4 rounds, to be honest.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And Joe, what I think that's exactly what Broner needs, because whenever you see clips of Broner, he's constantly got a team of cheerleaders around him, constantly praising him all the time and clapping him non-stop. And that's exactly what he needs. He needs to kick up the backside just to get him going. You know, in a fight of this magnitude, you know, though there's not a title on the line, it's a huge fight to beat one of the world's best, and he's just not doing enough, not going through the gears.
No, and where does he go from here if he loses? You know, where does he go from here in all reality? It's difficult to see. He doesn't need technical advice or tactical advice. He needs what he got there, bollocking. Get out there and start fighting, you know, start throwing punches. You're not going to win this fight lying on the ropes, doing a shoulder roll. You need to get out there and start throwing combinations, not single shots. You need to put 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 punch combinations together.
Well, the manner of defeat is always very, very important, is it, when it comes to what may be cropping up in your future, as to whether you can command big purses, whether you can still be a kind of star attraction. That first defeat of Marcus Maidana, I think he emerged from that with a lot of credit. People had admiration for him for the way that he gritted it out against Maidana. A striking image from that night was him leaving the ring all by himself, just with a couple of security guards walking him back to the dressing room deep in the bowels of the Alamo Dome, after he'd been accompanied to the ring by the usual sprawling entourage and hoopla. And will people begin to walk away from him after this performance? He will still crave the spotlight. He's that kind of individual. He made his mind up long ago about how he was going to try and build his profile, and I don't criticise him for that. You have to do what you can. You have to sell yourself and be entertaining in boxing, but at the minute, he quite simply, against a very good fighter, let's make no mistake, he is not able to back it up.
That's the thing. If you're going to talk the talk, you've got to walk the walk, and he's not doing it here, Broner. You know, sooner or later, people are going to get tired of it, and they're not going to listen to him anymore. So this is really his last chance, if you like, unless he wants to do some serious rebuilding, and it's just not come together. He's lost 8 rounds now. He's got to change it up now. He has to try and look for a big shot, put the punches together.
I mean, I think he's trying here. He's digging in. He's letting the shots go to the body. He's trying to come forward. He's trying to force Garcia on the back foot, but I just think he's up against a better fighter tonight.
Again, you just see how Garcia, how comfortable he is. He's just, you know, taken a small barrage from Broner, just come back to the centre of the ring, shrugged it off, and, you know, just, again, being patient, looking comfortable, and just bossing the fight.
Good left hand there from Broner. And he's getting to work on the bell there, and for the first time, Garcia was put under some sustained pressure, but even though that left hand landed, it didn't really seem to have too much of an effect. That's better from Broner, but it's too late.
Yeah, big left hook though, probably the best punch of the fight landed by Adrien Broner for me. Anyway, he definitely registered. He took it well, the bell went, so, you know, I'm not going to say he wasn't saved by the bell, he took it well anyway, but it was a good, clean left hook that landed sweet on the chin, so, you know, at least it was good to see Broner in that round starting to throw caution to the wind a bit, take chances, be more aggressive and put combinations together. You know, he hasn't won a round, he needs to go for it now, and it looks like he's going to at least try, so, you know, we should be in for an exciting few rounds here.
Good words of body from Broner there. I'll be interested to see this left hook if they're going to show at the end. And he can take a bit of confidence from that, because Garcia felt it, no doubt, where it seemed to me as if he felt it a little bit. So let's see if he comes out here.
Well, he has to try and build on that now, Broner. He absolutely has to. Garcia has had that minute in between rounds just to recoup, just to shrug it off if indeed it did shake him at all, just popping out that left hand.
I think it got his respect. I don't think it shook him up. You know, it was a good, clean left hook that definitely got his respect. But I don't think it hurt him or anything like that. And if whatever effect it did have was well done there.
Garcia again just looking to stick that backhand. Every now and again he throws a good stiff jab, just looking to lead with a hook there. A couple of times didn't land either of them. He's got a method that is founded on very solid boxing mechanics, Mikey Garcia.
I think this is if the fight continues the way it is and Mikey Garcia wins a shutout or even comes on strong and stops him, I think this is the most damaging career, the worst loss of Adrien Broner's career. The loss against Marcus Maidana, it was a great fight. He showed a lot of character, a lot of grit, getting up, toughness, staying in the fight, where this has been a shutout, really. He's been, I don't want to say outclassed, but he's been, really well, comprehensively beaten.
He looks a league below, doesn't he? He doesn't look in the same class as Garcia at all. And I understand what you mean there. It would be damaging, soul-destroying for Broner. Someone with so much confidence to get schooled like he has. It's going to be tough to come back from this if it does remain this way. Good left hook by Broner there.
Yeah, it's good to see. Fair play to Broner. He's coming forward. He's trying to, he knows he has to take chances. He knows he has to step on Garcia. He has to make him fight. He's going for it. Fair play to him.
Right-hand lead landed by Broner there as well as he looked to try and come forward. He's walking Garcia down a little bit himself here, which is exactly what Garcia's been doing to him, and then Garcia just trying to ram that uppercut home. Final 30 seconds of round 10, just 2 to go after this.
It's just funny why Broner's left this so late. I mean, not that he's troubling Garcia here at all, but at least he's trying something a bit different. He's trying to set the pace, set the tone, trying to land a big shot. I don't know why it's taken him 10 rounds. I don't know if he's seen a chink in the armour or he's sensed a weakness in Garcia, but it's surprising that he's left it so late.
Again, Garcia just raises that right glove as he takes a seat in the corner. He feels that he is touching distance away now from this win, which could set up some very, very big fights. There's that left hand again from Broner, which landed and just put Garcia back onto his heels slightly. He was standing a little bit tall as he took it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a better round from Broner. He landed some nice shots. The short right hand there, like I say, that short left hook before that we were seeing in the replay. But he's walking forward now. He's stepping on Garcia. He's making him fight, and he's throwing punches in bunches. He's taking chances, and he's having more success probably in the last 2 rounds than he's had in the rest of the fight. So, it's an exciting few rounds now. But he should have maybe done this a little bit earlier. But then, it's easy to say that here maybe he didn't feel he could do that earlier because Garcia was keeping him at bay behind the stiff jab and the 1-2.
Let's go, Blue. Vamos, Pico. Son 2 rounds.
Well, he still looks pretty fresh, Mikey Garcia. Broner looks more determined as he rises from his corner to head into round 11, but the simple fact is that he's going to have to knock Mikey Garcia out to win this fight, which would be extraordinary if he were to manage to make it happen.
Been an impressive performance so far from Mikey Garcia. To step up to 140 pounds, never boxed at that weight before. You find someone like Adrien Broner, who's fought at welterweight several times, and to put on such a dominant performance, it's a testament to how good Mikey Garcia is.
Broner on his day, I mean, he's a nightmare. He really is. And Garcia, for 9-10 rounds, has handled him well. I think Broner, I mean, scoring subjective, but I think I would have given Broner the last round just because I thought he was, trying to do something different, he was working a bit harder, find some more punches than he had been, throwing him in bunches, and I just gave him the last round, though there was not much in it. But again, Garcia's responding well, back to the centre of the ring and trying to get behind that jab and tee up that big right hand.
Well, there's no doubt that Team Garcia, as Matt was saying earlier on, took this fight because they felt that obviously it was one that they could win and that Broner was a big enough name to really establish themselves, announce themselves at 140 pounds and just really open up Mikey Garcia's options, and this will certainly do that. We've got a huge fight at 140 on Sky on August the 19th. Terence Crawford, the WBC and WBO champion, in with Julius Ondongo, the IBF and WBA champion. So whoever wins that will be the undisputed champion of the division, will have unified all belts, which is a rarity these days. And who's to say that Mikey Garcia couldn't fight whoever wins that fight. If it's Crawford, which at the moment people expect it to be, then the problem could be that Crawford's with top rank, which Garcia was, and it didn't end well, as we know.
I'll tell you what, though, what a fight that would be, because for me, Terence Crawford is one of the best fighters in the world in any weight division. What a class act he is, and Mikey Garcia also, you know, they're definitely probably two of the best 5 pound-for-pound fighters in the world. I mean, Garcia, he just doesn't make any mistakes. He's fundamental, you know, he's so technically well-schooled. He just doesn't make any mistakes. His balance, he's never off balance. He doesn't reach for his punches, you know, he's just hands nice and high. Excellent, excellent fighter.
And there's still more to come from him, I think. I think we can see more because he finds it so easy in there at times.
Yeah, I mean, tonight he's been such a dominant performance, and it looks like he's got at least another gear or two to go through.
Well, he's just a round away. He's a round away from all sorts of conversations being able to start. Mikey Garcia, Robert Garcia in the corner. He'll go to 2-0 against Adrien Broner.
No cometa errores. No le regales este round, ¿eh? No le regales round, ¿eh, mijo? Aquí estás ocupado, ocúpelo, 2, 3 golpes, sí. De vez en cuando uno fuerte, pero sígase moviendo. No se quede, ¿ok? ¿Ok?
Yeah, I agree with all that Robert Garcia was saying there. Yeah,
I think we're all in agreement with it. Whatever he's saying, it's obviously been the right thing, hasn't it? Right from the very start. His man has done exactly what they would have worked on in the gym. They'd have had a game plan, as you said at the start, Darren, and he's obviously carried it out to the letter. And sometimes in this kind of situation, we have praised Garcia, and rightly so, but it's easy to look at the man who's fallen short and wonder what he didn't do and why he didn't do certain things. Garcia has just not let him do anything.
No, Garcia's been top class, and like I say, you've got to give credit as well to Robert Garcia. It was something that we were kind of weighing up the fight beforehand that made me even more confident in terms of leaning towards Mikey Garcia, was the fact that he had trained Marcus Maidana to fight Broner, so he knows Broner inside out, so then he's studied him many, many times, and they picked this fight for Mikey Garcia to step up to 140 pounds and fight Broner. So, you know, that did give me confidence that Mikey Garcia was going to win the fight, but I'll be honest, I didn't expect him to be so dominant.
Yeah, he's been clinical here. I mean, it's could almost say punch perfect. I know I've said it a few times here, but it's been a pleasure to watch someone operate like this so well and so easily against a top-class fighter in Broner, keeping it simple at times. I mean, jab, 1-2, double jab, right hand, and he'll drop to the body. Nothing out of the ordinary, but just shows you if you can master the basics, you can do the basics correctly, it can take you a long way.
I think, you know, in life, whether it's you're on a building site watching a bricklayer, you know, build a wall, or if you're watching Jimmy White in his day doing a 1-4-7 break, I think a master at work makes it look easy, and Mikey Garcia has made it look easy tonight against someone who his nickname's the problem, who is normally a problem, and he just made it look easy.
Garcia's the problem here, that's for sure.
Garcia has solved the problem without a shadow of a doubt, and we'll just be looking to put on a really good finish in the final minutes. Broner is still looking to land his shots. I wonder what he'll have to say after this fight, Broner. There's no shame in it, losing to Mikey Garcia, but he regards himself as being a star attraction, Broner, as being a really top fighter himself. He is one, of course, having won world titles in 4 different weight divisions, but he's going to fall short again here, and the excuse he had the previous 2 times that he was fighting at a weight above his optimum weight is not available to him, and you do wonder where he will go. For Garcia now, the possibilities are huge.
He's still a great fighter, but I mean, his pulling power as a star attraction took a lot of damage after this kind of domination by Mikey Garcia. Even though Mikey Garcia is one of the top fighters in boxing, Adrien Broner kind of seen him as south of probably the heir to Mayweather's kind of throne, didn't he? So you know, after losing the 2 fights he's had and then being dominated like this, I just don't see, you know, those kind of fights coming to him now. What a performance those were like. Tonight's all about Mikey Garcia and what a performance he put on.
It was a terrific performance, and the Barclays Centre as one really just rises to him. He scarcely put a foot wrong. There's a round in there, maybe 2 that you could go Broner's way with, but other than that, he was outperformed.
Mikey, just go to the doctor for a second, please. Thank you.
Just a really, really good night for everybody involved in that corner. The confidence that they had in him was well-founded. And that spell he had out of the ring doesn't seem to have done him any harm whatsoever. If anything, he says it's kind of regenerated his hunger for boxing, his desire for titles, his desire to achieve as much as he possibly can, make as much money as he possibly can, and secure the future of himself, for his family, for generations to come, possibly, because there are some huge fights out there for him now.
Even though he's a huge name already, Mikey Garcia in boxing, tonight has done his career a lot of good, a real shot in the arm. You know, he's dominated someone like Adrien Broner at the sold-out Barclays Centre in New York. You know, he's really main event on Showtime. He's really kind of stepping up in a new weight class of 140 pounds. He's really kind of took himself to another level again, hasn't he?
Yeah, he stepped his authority, you know, in a massive way on the world scene here. You know, he's strongly in that top pound-for-pound fighters category now, and you know, at the division he's in and around, there's some massive fights out there for him, and the world really is his oyster.
He did say in a conference call about a week ago as well that he wouldn't rule out at some point stepping up to 147 if it made sense, if that's what he needed to do. That's another big leap, but all in good time. It could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see the fights with Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford's a hell of a fighter. I'd love to see that fight happen.
Who'd you fancy?
I mean, after tonight's performance, it's hard to pick against Mikey Garcia, but then I was ringside for Terence Crawford's last fight, and he just looked unreal.
Ladies and gentlemen, the scorecards, we have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Eric Marlinski scores about 117 to 111. Judges Steve Weisfeld and Don Ackerman scored about 116 to 112. All 3 in favor of the winner. And still undefeated, now the WBC Diamond Belt champion, Mikey Garcia.
Well deserved. Well, there was never going to be any doubt as to who would get the decision there. 116, 112 a couple of times from Don Ackerman and Steve Weisfeld was quite a lot narrower than I think we would have had it. We were looking more at 118, 110, I would say. 117, 111 from Eric Marlinski. It matters not to an extent because there was no way that anybody was ever going to get that wrong, but 116, 112 was a bit surprising.
Yeah, I thought a bit close.
Would you say that this was perhaps your best performance ever?
Definitely one of them. I think I controlled the fight from the early rounds. I kept the activity up. He's a tough fighter. He's a great fighter. He's got great skills. I was just a better fighter tonight.
Your technique was so superior, and your angles and your jabs. What enabled this all to come together against a very accomplished fighter?
I think it's the timing. I always said, you know, I have very good timing, and it's underestimated when you're looking from outside of the ring. But when you get inside the ring with me, you find out that my timing is just a step in front of them.
You threw 783 punches compared to 400, and you connected on power shots 225 to 125. How were you able to maintain that level of activity?
Well, we trained for that for 10 weeks. We had a great training camp, great sparring. We knew that it was going to be a tough fight, so we had to be in great shape. We had to be ready to do whatever it takes to win this fight, and that's what we were able to accomplish. That.
You said before the fight, if you were able to punch him, it stops his offense. Was that the effect that you had this evening?
It was effective. It was part of the strategy to keep being a little bit more busier than the average fights that I have. that keeps him on the defensive side and allows me to continue my work ethic.
What do you do now? You're undefeated, 37-0. There's some big names out there, Lomachenko, Crawford, Linares. What would you like to do from here?
Anybody that wants to come join us on Showtime, they can come and give us a phone call. We're ready for anybody.
And would you like to do it at this weight, or you've considered perhaps moving up, correct?
Well, we want to look at the options. I can come down to 135 for a big important fight at lightweight, or I can stay at 140, or if the opportunity is right, maybe move up to 147.
Mikey, congratulations. Super effort. Robert, congratulations. Adrien, tough night here tonight. What was the biggest difference in your mind in this fight?
First of all, I got to thank God. I got to thank all the people who came to see me lose, all the people who came to see me win, because at the end of the day, y'all the reason I make all this money. And another thing, I just want to congratulate Mikey Garcia, his team, Robert Garcia, all them. But you know what, the fight, it was a good fight. You know, at the end of the day, I'm a fighter. I come to fight, I come to win, and I put my heart on the line. I feel like.
AB, you kept shaking your head and talking during the fight as though you were never hurt or never backed up really by him. What was the thought process and your strategy in all of that, and how come you couldn't seem to muster when you needed that energy and that spirit that would have, you know, got you back into the fight?
Shit, it was Tom and Jerry. I had to catch the mouse.
You said it was a do-or-die fight, and unfortunately it didn't come out.
They said it's a do-or-die fight. If I fight tomorrow, then everybody in this motherfucker gonna still come see me, man. At the end of the day, listen, I'm still AB. I'm still about billions. I'm still the can, man. I'm still a fighting motherfucker, and anybody still can get it. And if you want a rematch in California, we can do it.
And what about the weight? Was it just too much weight for you to come down?
I wasn't tired. I was okay. It's just he fought a better fight tonight. He was the better man tonight, and it's okay. At the end of the day, I'm still a 4-time world champion, 4 different weight classes, and when I'm done with sport, I'm gonna be in the history books.
All right, Adrien, thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right, Mo, back to you.
Well, first of all, ladies and gents, if there are any sensitive souls out there who are offended by some of the language that Adrien Broner used, then I do apologise, but it wasn't all that surprising. That was a fairly typical Adrien Broner kind of interview. He gave some credit to Mikey Garcia, and then, to be honest, just came out with a whole load of total nonsense.
Adrien Broner?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a good fighter, Adrien Broner. He's had a great career, and you know, he is a nightmare to fight, but Mikey Garcia just handled him with such ease. You know, that just shows you how good Mikey Garcia is, because he made Adrien Broner look so ordinary, and he's not an ordinary fighter. He's a great fighter, but you know, maybe his best days are behind him, or maybe Mikey Garcia was just that superior.
Yeah, I would say it was the latter. You know, he was just far superior. He was better in every department. I mean, again, like I say, I mean, lovely long uppercut there. He was keeping it simple, working away, moving away, working his way in behind a nice solid jab. Just educated stuff, nothing silly, nothing stupid, keeping it simple. But it was very, very effective, and Broner just didn't have any answers for Garcia at all.
Yeah, and what he said in the interview, he said, you know, I have great timing. You know, when you're outside the ring or you're watching it on the television, you can't gauge how good someone's timing is. You know, you were there, you know, you're playing chess with the guy in front of you, next thing, bang, he hits you with a jab. You know, that's timing, when to throw, when not to throw.
Yeah.
And he obviously has that in abundance. You know, his timing is excellent. That's why he's always beating Broner to the punch. That's why he counters him, he makes him pay. And, you know, he just makes it look so easy.
I think another thing that Garcia does so well is his ability to judge the distance so well. Because at times he's not actually in range. He probably is half a foot outside of range, but he finds his way in there. He moves his head, he throws a stiff jab to the head and body, and he just manages the distance so well.
He does the basics really well, doesn't he? He makes everything look simple by doing the simple things really effectively. And Broner, well, we probably talked about him enough. If he just showed an ounce of humility in that post-fight interview, then I think that people would warm to him a little bit in the way that we did, to be honest, after the defeat against Maidana. But he just cannot bring himself to do it, and whether he likes it or not, he was in Garcia's slipstream tonight, and he was left trailing in his wake. It was a great performance, another really good performance at the Barclays Centre. We've seen a few of those now. We talked about Crawford and Ndongo. That fight is yet to come on August the 19th. We don't know what will happen. We know that Crawford's a heavy favourite, of course, but just listening to Garcia talk there, he's happy to go up to 147 if the fights are there. He's happy to go down to 135 if the fights are there. He's in a great position.
I mean, in boxing, there's levels, isn't there? And I mean, you get to world. Anyone who gets to world top 10 is a good fighter. Anyone who wins a world title is a great fighter. But then you just get these special fighters where weight classes almost don't really matter. Do you know what I mean? They just go up and down, and there aren't too many of them. But Mikey Garcia was one of those guys.
Yeah, it's just that elite level, isn't it? It's that step above everyone else, and Garcia and Crawford are two of those. And you know, I'm confident Crawford will come through his next fight against Ndongo and set up an absolute blockbuster.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for your company this evening. It's been entertaining. We thought it would be. The problem that is Adrien Broner was well and truly solved by Mikey Garcia tonight. It was a much anticipated fight because there were so many imponderables, so many things we didn't know, some things we thought we did know. In the end, what we discovered was that Mikey Garcia was a class apart. He was simply too good for Adrien Broner. Garcia now will go on to really contest the biggest fights out there at a range of different weights, and that's what he wants to go on and do. As for what is next for Adrien Broner, we will just have to wait and see. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's good night from the Barclays Centre.
Sky Sports. Feel it all.